My name is Brittany Colyer, and I chose to do my behavior observation on white-tailed deer. White-tailed deer are typically native to North America, South America, and Canada. I chose to do the white-tailed deer because they typically frequent the field by my house, so therefore they are readily accessible for me to be able to observe them daily. I was also able to go around to different agriculture fields within the area to see how those deer interacted with potential threats versus the ones who were closer to residential structures. With this one, you kind of have the landscape fear model, whereas the deer essentially at first froze when it sensed a potential threat, but then eventually went back to just grazing as it no longer sensed me as a threat. You can see where the deer is repeatedly flicking his tail back and forth. This is sometimes identified as a trait where the deer is at ease and does not sense any threats, therefore the deer is very comfortable and just continues to graze. You'll see in some of the other upcoming videos where the other deer kind of took a different approach and took the flight or flight response. And most of the deer that you see in this area, they like to hide in the crops and the heavily wooded areas and essentially just hide from any threats or predators. A lot of the deer that we kind of observed, you could see where they were hopping around the fields and then just would either jump right back into the wooded areas or they would duck down into the crops. You can see these two deers, they just did the flight response and went straight back into the woods. And this one, you can see one of the deer is flicking the tail back and forth. This is also another form of communication for them where they can alert the other deer to kind of let them know that there is a potential threat and that it was time to take off. This was a little baby deer that got separated from its mom. The mom hid in the woods and waited for the baby to come across once it felt comfortable. These are the deer that are typically located in the field behind my house. They were a little more aggressive than the other ones. We were able to get a little closer to them simply because it was so dark. But we tried not to get too close because as we moved closer and closer, they started making little blowing noises, which was kind of like a warning signal for us to kind of back off. They essentially just kind of walked away a little slower, but just kept doing that blowing noise to give us a bit of a warning. There was another deer off to the left that kind of just stared and watched to see what we were going to do, but these definitely had a different aggressive approach than the other ones. In one of the journal articles that I was able to pull, different traits such as blowing, stomping, aggressively flicking their tail back and forth or lifting their head up, those are just different indications that from the deer kind of give you a sense that they're going to take the fight response rather than the flight. This page here is all of the different works cited that I was able to research and get a little more indication as to why the deer have certain behavior traits that they do. So I hope you enjoyed this video.